talking
live.
to you. We're lying. Hot mic, shut the mic off.
We're live?
We're live now. Yeah, keep it close. Okay, gentlemen, thanks for joining. Here we are on the Light on the Trail podcast. Both of you have been on here before. See?
Correct.
I know you have. I just recalling. Will was like episode. You were early on.
I was early, man.
You were.
That was an old school one.
like
You probably had better ones since me.
my third or fourth.
Yeah, I would hope.
Jeff was. It was before. Was it after or before our Sufferfest?
Before.
That's what I thought, because we're talking about prepping for it and stuff. So a couple months ago. But I thought it'd be neat for all three of us. We do a lot of miles together, and kind of go over the year and what we thought of the year. What are we looking forward to? What are we working on? Just kind of have fun with that and whatever we've learned, I guess you could say, in quotes. So to put things in perspective for listeners, if we can, guys, why don't we look at our mileage? If you can check your mileage on your Strava account, because I've done this not too long ago, and I was like half of, maybe I think less than half of Will, and then
I can't lie about my mileage either.
oh yeah, it's gonna be legit. So help you.
Statistics. All right, here we go.
You can say your watch didn't work.
yeah, that's it. All right, so year to date, 210 runs, a time of 321 hours and 16 minutes. My distance year to date is 1,735 miles with an elevation gain, which is very important to me, 141,227 feet.
Liar.
What? It's right here.
No, for real, dog.
Yeah, dude.
Where? Wait.
I don't know where you get all of those stats.
Where
all
is it
I
at?
can see
Yeah.
for myself is
You go to, okay, so this is easy, y'all. You go to
Perfect.
you.
I'm here.
Yeah, you go to you.
See.
All right, so go down. Go back up. You went too far.
Oh,
Let me
goals.
see.
I
Let me
pick my
see.
face.
Okay. Monthly activities, November.
All I did was you, right? You.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Have I done so least amount of miles? It's like, don't even worry about it,
just-
man.
yeah.
Don't it's okay.
You just keep doing you, buddy.
Full recap. Oh, then I can probably change to
yeah,
you
there
or
we go.
something.
Longest
Yes.
activity, achievements.
Where's the year? I saw it before. That's what made me think about doing this, because I wanted to compare everybody's.
I guess you could go through every month.
No. Did you find yours yet, Jeff?
Guys, this segment was a wash,
yes.
Frank.
Wait. All on my own, I found mine. Runs 157, time 206 hours. Year to date, 1,236 miles.
Oh my
and
Hell yeah.
46,722 feet of elevation gain.
It's that dog.
Dang, you still got 1,000 miles in. Well, guys, I'm glad I'm the host and everything, but I have monthly activities. Usually
Frank
like
can't
this, Jeff.
even.
This is also a Strava review, so Strava. oh, wait, this
found it.
looks better. Statistics. There we are.
You
Okay,
did
I found it. It was a button away. All right, runs all time 143.
No, just this year, Frank.
Yeah.
Just this year.
Oh, just this year. It's like,
Are you going to show us all
I
up?
did start running this year to date. All right, 93. So my total runs is 143, and then just this year is 93, which again, this year was trying to be the most I've ever ran, essentially it was.
I'd say
I've
so.
got 106 hours of time, 610 miles. That's what I've got in there, which is better than what I thought, actually. Okay. My elevation gain says 23,600. So what was yours, Will?
Like
Okay.
144,000 or something like
That's what I
that.
thought. Okay.
So Will has been really high this year.
I've been, just out of my mind. This year.
Out of my mind. Anyway, so that's where the mileage sets. Y'all are both over 1,000, and I'm 600-ish. That's neat. But it's been great.
You probably have more of a life than me. If
These
that
guys
helps.
have helped me out a lot.
That makes
this
you feel
year.
better. You have more of a life.
This. I'm not even gonna post this. This is just for me to listen to later and gloat, just to smile to myself. Hey, listen to these dorks. No. Uh, s- what? I was gonna mention the pasta you just gave us, and then something else. Dang it. Um, what was it with Miles? Or coming? I can't remember. We'll just talk about the pasta. Will just gave us some pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, you like pasta?
I do.
That's pretty great.
That was pretty good,
It
especially for some vegan type food.
it
It
was
was
surprisingly
100% vegan.
it was surprisingly spicy.
Yeah.
Um,
I put a lot of spices into my food.
it
Yeah,
was
so
it was good though. Uh, what about we'll just get right into, I guess, fun talk, or oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. Speaking of the elevation, and getting high, but you got to visit the Appalachian Trail this year.
yeah.
Was
Yeah,
that
that was definitely the highlight of my year, was going to Tennessee. That was a really good
really
time. Yeah.
awesome?
Enjoyed that a
It
lot.
was like a week.
Yeah, I had a week up there.
Heck yeah.
It was like, yeah, because we left on Friday, so like a full week. And even on Friday I went out and did a little bit out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
While
So
you were going out there, I was like, oh man, he's someone that could like really appreciate that. I'm glad he's like getting some miles in out there and like getting all
running
up in the nature.
running on the AT was really cool. I really enjoyed that a lot. That's definitely one of the highlights of the year.
Sweet.
And I don't know, gave me a lot of respect for people that through hike that or go all the way through it, because that's not it's very well maintained and it's very well marked, but like the trail itself, it's like really, really technical.
Really?
Yeah, it's like really rocky and rooty and
Kind of long.
yeah, pretty long. Yeah,
I don't know
it's a
if you
pretty long
heard,
one, but
but
like just the terrain itself, even if the distance is enough, but like on top of that, I mean, you're really navigating some stuff. So, and a lot of it, especially through the Smoky Mountains, it's on a ridge line, so you're going up and down and up and down and up and down. So it was
dang,
fun.
nice. That's super cool. I'd love to just to go out there and just say I did it, even if it was just like a 5K or something. But like I was on the AT and I got to put some miles in. Uh, and Jeff, Mr. Chuck, Mr. Dog, you had to. Did you do some miles somewhere you used to live? Not Montana. Was
I
it
got to
Montana?
run for about 45 minutes before it got dark in Boulder, where I
Boulder.
lived and
Okay.
ran for 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And then I also got to run in Montana, but not on any trails because it was rattlesnake season. And I was warned and cautioned to not venture onto the trails.
To not to do it just in case. Better safe than sorry. You know, if you're up for that kind of stuff, fine. Cool. I think I didn't actually run. I went to New Mexico this year and I got to do some hiking with family and stuff, which was some serious hiking because some of it was like 3 foot of snow. And we're just called like post holing. Is that the right term? Have you ever heard that term before?
Post holing.
You're breaking through the
Where
crust.
you're trying to walk, but your legs are pretty much just sinking every time. So you're just like making
Snowshoes,
holes.
Frank.
Eh. Yeah, it would have been better. Some of it wasn't though. Some of it was, maybe 4 inches of snow, and then we'd hike and come around some side of a rock, whatever mountain thing, and be super deep. But that was neat. So we got to go around and get out of state some running. This was my first marathon and my first ultra. Um, not, and I think I had mentioned this before that I had misspoken when I said it was my first night run at the Sufferfest. I did do what was my longest Hell's Half Acre night run that they do out in like, I don't know if it's technically Dallas or technically Fort Worth, but it was
Oh, that's Fort Worth.
all
It's,
road. Yeah.
right on the Trinity.
Yes. Yep. And that was a 15 miles or 20 miles. I can't remember which one I did. But that was neat. But yeah, so this Sufferfest with Jeff was my longest run, my first ultra, and I guess technically my first night trail race, and the first time I really ran with someone, I guess.
That was my first night trail race too.
Nice.
Don't kick rocks.
So Jeff, how was that night trail race?
Don't kick rocks.
For someone that did go through I'm still going to call it a broken toe. I'll make sure this doesn't act goofy. You and both of y'all, especially Will, and we can talk about this in a second because I think you've just trying to get all your miles and stay pretty sharp and ready for your big race you have coming up. But Jeff, you've been putting in like a lot of miles too and being pretty consistent lately once your toe healed up and you got right back at it And obviously, like we just mentioned, you're at 1,000 plus also miles. But
And
you were out
that's
for
for
a while.
taking a month off.
I thought it was a month. Yeah.
It's-
I just thought about that.
It was more like a month and a half, close to 2 months. Because
Dang.
I
It
tried.
was a while.
I took 2 weeks off and then tried to run for 2 weeks when my toe was still purple,
That
and
dog.
that was a bad idea.
It's that dog.
It was still purple. That's his
And it's-
episode, like race prep talk with Jeff got that dog, Klapprodt. It's like super long.
Yes, Sufferfest was supposed to be prep for Dana Peak, but that did not happen. So now I'm getting
yeah.
ready for Cowtown Road
Ooh.
Marathon in February.
It's a fun race.
In February is when your Arkansas races?
Yeah, February 20th.
Ah.
It's the same
Same
weekend.
weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, so unfortunately, guys, I can't do both.
Well, I mean,
I know.
Whatever.
That sucks. Whatever.
But it also means I can't crew for you or pace.
Yeah. It's okay.
I could run the marathon and then drive.
Oh my gosh.
Just say hi. Yeah.
I would still be, if I can still be down to pace you if I can, I will try. That'd be really fun. It's kind of early in the year. Jeff, with that race for you, is that are you trying to set your marathon PR with that?
I am, and I'm trying to
Oh.
qualify for Boston.
Oh, BQ.
And it will be my last race before I turn 50.
Okay. Is that kind of a hidden little goal of yours, is to have a BQ before 50?
No, but I'm thinking I'm going to sign up for the 50 miler at the Coyote race out at Cleburne
Ooh,
in April.
the meat grinder on it. That those
I
freaking
did my
Rocky
first
Hill.
50K there this year. So why not do my first 50 miler there?
Yeah, I like that. Nice. What is your you told me before, was it like 4:01? What was your marathon time?
329 at
3:29. Oh, good
at
gravy.
Cowtown.
Never mind. That's moving pretty good. Well then. All right.
What's the BQ time? What's the qualifying time?
320
3:20?
for 45 to 49, and then 325 for 50 to 55.
You'll get that. That's cool, man.
Nice. Dude, that's exciting. Heck yeah, man. And then what is what's Levitt gonna what is the race called? The 100 Levitt or something, or
Love it 100.
okay, that sounds about right.
How far is it?
50 yards.
50 yards.
It's
actually
100. It's
straight.
100. It's 100 meters actually. I'm short distance
Yeah,
now.
the 100M.
Yeah.
100
Yeah, dude.
mile. Love it.
I'm
Flat race?
nope, not at all.
Oh, really?
Total opposite. It's in the Ouachita Mountains.
Oh,
So that'll be really cool, really exciting. I'm dialed in pretty well, man. Like all the strength training and like some of the speed workouts and stuff have really been paying off. And like I'm gonna run actually after this is over, and then probably going to I'm gonna do a 5-hour run tomorrow morning. Yeah.
I plan
and-
on joining you at
yeah.
6. So
Yo, you're going?
I'm more of a morning guy. So that I should be able to do. If I do it we get there at 6, do a lap, however long it takes. I just got to be back home by like 10 or 9:30
You can do that.
to get to church. And that's again, starting at 6, 7, 8,
Okay,
9.
so
That's plenty of
that's
time.
pretty neat. I think my friend Hans is gonna be out there too.
This will be a good and because your birthday is Monday.
Yeah, birthday's Monday.
All right.
32.
32.
I'm too old for this.
Wow. Aging like fine wine.
And I'm thinking, one of the racing highlights of my year was Dana Peak for sure. That was a really good race for me. I wish Jeff would have been able to run it, but that was probably one of the stronger races I've ever ran, like start to finish. I was on fire.
You got third or fourth?
Yeah, I got third.
Okay.
Yeah, third overall.
Yeah.
And
Got 'em.
didn't slow down. You kept the same pace most
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
whole
and
race.
I finished. I think I've told y'all off the air, but the last 7 miles were like, that's the strongest I've ever finished a race. I don't know, something, a switch flipped or something. I don't know what happened, but I took off.
Nice.
And it was cool. We talked I talked to second place after the race because I finished about 5 minutes after he
it
did.
was close. Man, it's close.
Yeah, I know, it was super close. And he told me, he said, "Man, I saw your headlight, and I turned mine off, dude, because I knew you were coming. I didn't want you to have something to chase after, because that's."
All you need.
And he knew,
Oh, that's
man, like, cause that dude, he was an old timer, and like
Man,
he
his
knew
first
what was
rodeo.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the moment he said that, I started laughing because I was like, dude, that's exactly what I do at night. Like when it gets dark and you're racing, like you find a headlamp and you run after
Yes,
it. And
yes.
you get it. And I kept asking every aid station I went through, I was like, how close is second? How close is second? They're like, oh, like 10 minutes, 15, like 15 minutes,
Ooh.
10 minutes. And they're like getting closer and closer. I'm like, oh, I got him. But time ran out on me.
What was
He was crafty.
He was crafty.
he was a good yeah.
He was a local too, so I think that's how he got away with not having his headlamp on. Because I don't know if I don't
That's
think I would have.
brave.
I
That's
wouldn't have
brave.
tried that
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. But because it was dark, because it wasn't a full moon or anything like that. I think it was a new moon, so he had no moonlight to like give him any kind
Holy
of
cow.
light.
What's the what was Dana? Was it 50K or 50 miles?
100K.
It was 100K.
It was 100K.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
But just 2 laps.
Dang.
Yep. 2 50K laps. I did it in 14:38.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was really good. My first loop was like 6:37, and then the second loop was a little bit longer, but that's accounting for time at the start finish too, because I probably took like 10 minutes there before the start of the second loop. I take my time when I go into those aid stations.
Hmm.
I don't get in a hurry. That's time to rest. I could probably, I don't know. I've kind of figured that's the best thing to do for me, because some people are super quick in and out from aid stations.
If you're feeling
Rest.
good, yeah, if you're feeling solid like you were, I would think, and you kind of know what you want or what you may need, and you're listening to your body and everything, right? As long as I guess you're not hitting a point where you feel like you're wasting time, but you're there, you're being efficient and
Yeah.
like getting what you need to do. You're like, all right, let's move, and then you do it. So however long that takes for you to stay in the right states mentally and physically, I guess, then you're, I guess
And
that's
you
the
were
way to do
running
it.
with someone, so why not take as long as they take and keep
Well, he
going?
got out way quicker than I
Oh,
did.
he ditched you.
Oh yeah, he did. Well,
Racing.
that was halfway. The race started.
Ah.
We started together. We ran together, but I mean, there was definitely like an unspoken agreement that like, hey man, we're not
friends.
gonna hold hands across the finish. Like, I mean, we're about to go.
That's cool.
Yeah, nah. So I mean, it was good running with him too. We ended up running for a really long time, probably like 50 miles. I think it's the most I've ever ran with anybody. And I think if he hadn't had the quad issues that he had that day, like I'd have really had to fight to get third. I really think so. He just kind of fell apart. But his caveat is that's the first ultra that he's ran in 3 years.
Whoa,
He ran a
and-
100-miler in 2020 and took 3 years off. I mean, of course, he did like a bunch of he's
kind of
strength
active.
training.
Okay.
Right now his thing is like he does a lot of multi-day like hiking stuff. Like he goes out to Guadalupe Peak a lot or goes out to Big
Okay.
Bend, and so he spends a lot of time doing stuff.
That's good. A long
Yeah,
effort of something.
but he hadn't
Yeah.
he hadn't really ran a
But he
race in,
pushed
like,
you
3
to a
years.
way better time than you would have had on your own.
I think he did. I really think he did.
I know, Frank, I told you I wouldn't have finished Sufferfest
Mm,
if you hadn't come along at that point.
yeah, that was a fun. That was the plan. We kind of, like, hey, yeah, we'll be the same race together. We'll, probably run together. But if somebody's feeling good, I don't want to slow you down, and vice versa, and just kind of that unspoken kind of thing. Unless, like, if I'm pacing is one thing. I'm like, no, I'm here for you. But like, we're here racing, running together. You do good, whatever. Yeah, and it was in the dark, and I had tagged along with some other guy. One guy kind of tagged along with me, and then we kind of started talking. I can't remember their names. I want to say it was like Brandon and something else, but and then we ran into his buddy who had slowed down, and he tagged along with us. It was us three, and then we got close to, I guess, on lap 2. Was it towards the end of lap 1 when we met back up?
Near the end of lap 2.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Close enough to the aid station in the parking lot where I
Yes.
was contemplating.
Yeah, we met back up, and Jeff was walking. I was like, Jeff, because I took off like too fast because I just kind of wanted to get out and excited.
So you had the lead.
Jeff
Or
was
did
ahead of me.
Jeff had the lead.
To start
At
with,
first I
we
did.
started together, and then my heart rate was way too high, and I pulled over and slowed down for like most of lap 1.
Yeah.
And then I caught up and went past him.
Yep.
And at the beginning of lap 2, I ran with somebody who I met at Coyote. And well, somewhere before I met up with him is when I kicked a rock. And then got to the aid station and was just pretending it was only a toenail. And then ran with him. Well, we started with a group of like 5 and we dropped them and did like 6 or 7 miles of the loop pretty damn fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to where I could barely, like I had to walk because my toe hurt too much.
He was,
and he ended up finishing, I think, 5th in the 50K. So he had a great race.
Oh, he's the one I started off. I kind of was running with in the beginning.
And I just pulled over because I was starting way too fast and it was 107 degrees.
It was still pretty, it was such an interesting, I don't know, I guess you on an aspect or something, but it was a long race in summer. However, instead of it getting hotter, if you start in the morning, it was getting cooler and darker. So it was pretty warm when we started. But as we got more tired, yes, it was hot.
Warm doesn't quite cut it.
And right, it was still warm at night. So it was cooler at night. It was getting cooler, but you were getting more, I guess tired, whatever, throughout the night. But it was a really cool race.
Yeah, I think to preface that, it's a Texas summer, so it doesn't cool off at night. It just, there's no sun and it's still hot.
It's crazy. Like, yes, at night or in the mornings, you can walk out and then like, yep, it's hot. What was I going to say? But you had, I think at first I gave one of those guys my headlamp to borrow, and then mine went out.
And I gave you an extra I had.
Yes. And I had to find, they finished after us not too long after we got done. And I had to go find out, almost left it. But
I have never finished a race with so few people still around. It was a completely different experience because
we
were lonely, isn't it?
We were 2 hours away from the cutoff.
I think so. We finished at like 4 a.m. and it was like 7 to 7 or it took us 9 hours.
9 hours, yeah.
9 something ish. When did we start? Did we start at 7?
7.
That's what I thought. And we finished at like 4. If that's 9 hours, then that's right. Well, whatever it was, but it was a 5, 6, 7.
There were not many people still there.
No. That was well, I guess I don't know how many people actually ran the 50K because there's a good chunk of people when we started, but they had everything from
all the distances started.
Oh yeah, well, Will was there, right? You ran the one lap.
I had the normie race. I ran an 18K.
Normie race.
It was very fun. Enjoyed myself a lot.
Yeah, you still had sunlight when you left, right, or when you finished?
No, it was dark.
Okay.
I got really close to breaking 2 hours. I think I got 7th. I ended up getting passed by 2 people. The last like 3 miles because I went out really.
They wanted it more.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they probably did. No, I went out really hard. I didn't pace myself well.
That was a.
This is one loop. It was just 11 miles. So I was like, I'm gonna.
See how fast I would be. Yeah, I like that idea. One loop, just go. Yeah.
And John Stazuli and Drew Flowers passed me both, and Drew pissed me off though, because he was just like, "Oh, it's a great day, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're beating me right now." Okay, yeah, cool, thanks.
Real cute.
Yeah, it's a great day, dude. Yeah, it's good.
What's other than other flashbacks? Who did? No, you didn't. You paced at Murray just recently.
Yeah, I tried to.
Okay, because I was gonna bring up the mud so much. That was kind of a recent race that just went down, and it was a mess.
I thought that was an exaggeration from some of the 100-milers because, like, you know, when you're running hundreds, like, things get super dramatic. So, like, Stephanie was like, "It's so muddy, Will. It's so bad out there," and I was just like,
"The worst."
Whatever, you know. And I got out there, and I was just like, ugh. And I should have known because Stephanie's a really good runner and she's done a lot. But like, yeah, I offered to pace her from like mile 60 to like mile 80, and I went to go pick her up at an aid station, and she walks into the aid station and goes, "I'm gonna drop," and so immediately I had to go into like savior mode and like rescue mode, and I was like, "No, come on, you don't mean that. That's crazy." And she's like, "No, Will, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm gonna get back to
mile 60."
Yeah, like mile 60 or so. And I was like, "Okay, you're just in like a low spot. It's not a big deal." But we get back out there, and like,
And you're like, oh, I see.
I'm like, and I kept trying to talk to her and be like super positive and stuff, and just like, you could do it, you could make cutoff, because she could have. She could have made cutoff, because she was sitting there and she was doing the worst thing you can do, and she's doing ultra math. And she's sitting there saying, I'm doing this pace, and if I'm doing this pace the whole time, I'm not going to make it. I'm like, dude.
Might as well quit now.
And it's, you can't, like, you cannot think about it. And it's like the only thing you want to think about, but you can't do it. Like, you can't sit there, you psych yourself out like that. But she ended up doing it anyway. And I don't know, she finally made up her mind, because I kept trying to talk her out of it, and finally it got to the point where I was like, well, I'm not going to change your mind. And after we came to that agreement, I told her straight up, I was like, you could finish this race, but I don't blame you for not doing it. Because it's some of the worst mud I think I've ever seen. Like, on a trail, in a race. It was terrible. It was so bad. Like, I mean, it would suck. It was sucking people's shoes up. There was somebody that fell and, like, didn't break their neck, but, like, damaged their neck really bad. And, like, EMTs had to go out there because it was so slippery. And it was just...
You stopped counting the number of times you fell?
I didn't fall.
But you're a badass.
Yeah, well, okay, whatever. I did not fall. She fell. I had to pick her up at one point because she couldn't even get up with her trekking poles.
Yikes.
And she was just
pissed off and muddy and
it was
slippery.
Funny. She was just like, no, I hate this mud. And like,
I'll pull you down with me.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it almost turned into, trying to pick her up. But I think, how many people do you know signed up for that 100?
Briston did. Briston ran it.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Not the 100. No, yeah. He was there at the race, but
I think like 30 people signed up for the 100 miler.
Did
and
two?
Three
finished.
Three people finished, and it was like, it was golden hour, barely before cutoff. Nobody had a good day out there.
But from mile 0, it was mud, right?
Yeah, it
wasn't
horrible.
like...
It was, well, what made it worse, and I went up there earlier in the day, and I was talking to the race director, Chris, and I was like, man, once it stops raining, this is going to suck. And he said, I know. Because with it raining, the water was flowing, and, you know, it was able to flush the trail out.
It kind of rinses it all, yeah.
Once it stops, dude, nah. Like, yeah, that's when it got really, really bad, is when it stopped raining. It stopped raining about noon, and I don't think it ever started back up again. It may have started up on Sunday. But that whole Sunday and Saturday and Saturday night was absolutely miserable.
Right, I know
that would have been rough.
Running the rows in January, the first lap was fine. It started to rain the second lap, and I only did 22 miles. But the people that did the 106, it got progressively much, 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 much worse till it was pouring rain, thunderstorm. But Lake Murray started bad. At least running the rows, you had time, if you were doing the 50K, to probably still be in somewhat okay weather. But the people who did the 100K finished, but it was ugly.
That's, yeah, with weather. So I was just thinking, like, with rain, I think I'm still agreeing with myself on, like, wind. Would you rather have rain? I mean, not like super hard, but like as far as weather goes, like wind usually is the one that irritates me the most.
I'll pick wind over 100-degree temperatures all the time. I don't like the heat.
I do not like wind. Wind blowing, even like a tailwind is one thing. It's kind of okay, but like it's just loud and always pushing you and like blowing dust or dirt up and stuff, and it's just really annoying. I think I'd rather have heat, and even like, you know, yesterday or the day before when it was like lightly raining out here, like that's nice. But
Thursday was misting.
Right. That's like super nice, kind of gray, but it's also those times when it's like in Texas, if it stops and then it's immediately super humid and like hot and there's no air and you're like it just rained to make things like worse. But to have kind of what we're talking about with Murray with mud, I'd ran a Conquer the Gauntlet obstacle course race with my wife before, and I think it was the first one I got her to do with me. And you know, we're kind of excited, like, hey, we're gonna do this together. And like there was no running at all because it got flooded out. The parking all got moved. Some of the things you couldn't do on it, it's essentially flooded except for the starting area, so it could still go on. And so I'm thinking if somebody practiced for that to be their A race, and then you can't like run it, like that's very frustrating. And I'd get, in my head probably about that too. Like this wasn't supposed to be just a fun run or whatever. This was my A race. I can't even really run because this mud. Screw it. Why hurt myself or why, fight through this? And it, mud is when it's something you're ready to run and wanting to do, and then you can't. There's a challenge there, and you can accept it and get through that. And there's room to grow in that. But I can understand being really frustrated that was your A race, and you're like, what is this? This is a waste of time.
Well, there's people today
That's
that Brazos Bend was scheduled for today
mm-hmm.
Oh,
and completely postponed before the race due to they would have tore up the trail, and I think the park rangers said
They
sorry.
said no. Oh, really?
To kind of talk on what you were just talking about earlier, Frank, with like being upset because you weren't able to run your A race. That's why I always think it's kind of I find it for me, I don't want to have any of my goals be based upon I want to run this race in this amount of time. Your motivation, my motivation for me has to be different than if I'm going to choose to do a race, I'm not doing it because I want to break X amount of hours or something like that. Like there's got to be a different reason solely
Mm.
based on that,
I don't
Because then
know.
you could lower your say what?
I don't know.
You
Like
don't know?
I understand. I've only done one race where I wanted to finish,
Yeah.
Right.
and after that, before it starts, I'll have a time in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But if something happens, like,
Yeah.
but not so obsessed with it. Like I didn't want to drop at Sufferfest because I'm not going to beat my time.
Yeah. I guess you could. I guess it's all. I would. Yeah, like you said, you gotta like you can have a time, but then like if it doesn't happen, you just sort of
Right. If your
you gotta
time
be able to
is
pivot from that.
if your time is
Yeah.
going to put you in a bad headspace, like there's pushing yourself, and then there's
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
driving yourself nuts with something that is going to take away all the enjoyment. That seems silly.
Yeah.
But I like to have a time to shoot for, I guess to push for.
If it's something I do get motivated by time and like breaking a new PR, whatever it is, or trying something new or segments I like a lot, things like that. If the root of that is like today needs to be a hard day, well, let's run hard fat. If it's gonna be a shorter distance and stuff like with Sufferfest, I didn't have a time. That was my first time ever doing that distance. Same thing with like my first marathon, and it was more of like a enjoy it and complete it and get it done. But then there's I've ran a handful of 5Ks, and like the two I've done this year, and the first one was it? Or my second one, whatever, is when I first met Jeff, and like I was like didn't really have a time, but I wanted to be fast. Like I wanted to kind of go up and like in the top. But it was I'm not gonna have and we can kind of go into like goals for 2024, but I want to do my first 50 miler, and I'm not gonna have like a time and everything to set for that. And I want to complete it. I may have an idea like this would be good if I could do this. Um, but I would try to not let it get me down and keep like the main headspace of just completion. Um, was your and there's one thing if this is how it worked for you, Will, doing Dana, was it just like you were feeling really good and you'd known you put in some time and all that, and then as the day went on as a race, you're like, I've been doing all right and I'm still feeling pretty good, this could be good, like, or were you like, I'm gonna stay in the top 3, or was it just like you're feeling ready to go and you're just rock and rolling the whole time and you're just like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I always keep my expectations pretty low because the weather can do anything or anything can happen in these things. Like my main goal for Dana was just to like basically it was a benchmark for my A goal, which is love it, because it's not the same elevation obviously, but Dana does have its climbs and it has its technical sections, and I was like, okay, so this will be a pretty good baseline for that race to see where I'm at. And that was my main goal, was just to see what I could do. I mean, that's my goals for all this stuff, is just to see what the day gives me and to explore some new stuff and have fun doing it. I
Yeah.
don't really I guess being competitive is one of my goals, but if you put it, I don't know, I can't put a time to it. You just go out there and compete and give it your best. And if you do that, normally everything's going to work out okay.
That makes if you take it seriously and just push yourself enough to be competitive, you
Yeah.
will be competitive and will grow.
Even with
Like,
yourself, I mean, and
That's the main competitive part for me is myself.
right, yeah, you're not.
Did you ask your coach to change anything up after Dana Peak?
Nah, because that was great.
So you were
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any like desire to change what isn't broke,
Yeah.
like I struggled the second half of Cowtown, which is really hilly. And
Yeah.
after that, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, the second half of my long runs, I need to put in harder effort than I have been to try to train for that part of it.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah, Cowtown the second half does get pretty hilly. It goes through those ritzy neighborhoods with all the hills.
With all the hills.
Mm-hmm.
The hills.
Mm-hmm.
I
Ah,
want
makes
to look
sense.
down on the peasants.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I struggled the second half, so wanted to change some things up training wise. But I was curious if you needed to change anything.
We've been doing more strength training stuff. We're getting away from the
Speed.
shorter. Yeah, for the most part. We're still doing a little bit, but it's not the high intensity speed stuff that we were doing. It's more like 15 minutes starting out easy, 5 minutes fast, 5 minute break, 5 minute faster. Yeah, like something like
Okay.
that. But a lot of strength training stuff and like the 5 hour long run tomorrow. I mean, for me, that's a lot of time on feet. And then he wants to do
Yeah.
a couple of bigger, longer ones. Like he wants one of my last training runs to be like 40, 50 miles, which is a lot.
Dang.
Yeah,
Like,
that is a lot.
It goes against like
Even the 5 hours is borderline
And
going
Cleburne.
against what?
at Cleburne, I'll get close to a marathon
Oh yeah.
in 5 hours. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll quite get there, but I'll get pretty close.
Ooh.
But my 50K at Cleburne was 7 hours, and
Yeah.
that was 4 laps.
Yeah,
Dang. That'd be good. That makes me want to do.
The 50
Do that
miler
this
out
year.
there, Frank.
Nah, I would do a 50K first.
no,
No, that-
Frank, you
I
have
know.
to have to dive in
Starting
head
with
first.
starting with the 50K
the
there
hardest
is,
race locally.
good.
No joke.
Yeah.
See that actually, when you said that, it did just like make my head like, again, like I could do to
Ooh, he's
complete it,
thinking about
maybe
it.
not like necessarily a
He's
time,
thinking about it.
just to like it is local. I have plenty of ways to like tomorrow we're going there to run. I
Push
get
him,
used
Will.
to it.
Get into his head.
Yeah, come on, Frank.
I want to do.
It's just 6 loops. You can count to 6, right?
See, that makes
can
it.
count to
I don't
6.
like
Will even
that.
told me online
Thanks,
that
lad.
all the cool kids are doing the 50 miler.
All the cool kids are doing it.
All right.
I'll do it if y'all do
Well,
it.
I'll be.
And I'll be tore up from Love It
Right.
still. I won't even care. I'll walk it.
I've
with you.
never ran a race with you, Will, at the same distance.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, that makes me want to do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
I feel like
No,
I'm
Hell or high
slowing you
water.
down.
I met Frank at the 5K this summer. Or no, in the May,
Springish? Yeah.
just after Memorial Day, I think, or before.
April maybe or something. I don't know.
And then we ran Sufferfest together.
Ah, yeah.
And you beat me there by the same amount of time I beat you at the 5K.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
these are new 2024 goals.
Beat Frank in every race.
Me and Jeff
all-
have secret. Yeah, yeah.
Beat Frank in every
But the goal is screw Jeff. All right.
targets.
Targeted. All right. What was I
The
gonna
50 miler at Cleburne. Come on.
50 mile? I was thinking either the grasslands or I like the Chupacabra
That's a fun race.
because I've heard cool things and it's a cool name. And I want to run an outlaw race because I assistant direct with Briston for it, and I haven't run one of the races yet. So I would like to do that.
But how would you be able to run in race direct at the same time?
I wouldn't, but that's what I asked him.
What's your wife doing that day, Frank?
Yeah, she can volunteer and help me with the kids. Yeah, I think next year a 50 mile would be cool. I would like to do another marathon. Definitely, well, at least one, but I hopefully more than one. I guess next year, 50 mile, couple 5Ks maybe, couple marathons. I would try to do a road marathon or a road distance kind of thing. I don't know. That's neat, but I really like the trails because it's a little more uh whatever wild, I guess, or unexpected, and whatever can
Less
happen.
boring.
Definitely, yeah, less boring. But it's still a lot of time. I mean, 26 miles to do
That's more time on the
on the
trail, of course.
right, right. So there's a little bit of appeal of thinking that like, ooh, what's an actual PR for a five or for a marathon if you can do it on paved road and something a little more
Well, that's one of the cool
speedy.
things. Cowtown has spectators, not the whole way, but a vast majority of it. You have people cheering where you're not running all on your
Yeah,
own
that's a whole nother
like you
experience.
would be in a trail marathon
Right,
number of
right.
times.
That's what I mean. A lot of the trail people, they kind of. I used to know a guy that rip on like big city marathons and stuff, and he's like, "I don't run those," and I'm like, "Dude, they're fun.
They
They're
are
super
fun.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
especially
You
like we
run
were talking
through-
about earlier,
you
going
run
through the
through
ritzy
music.
neighborhood. I love going through the neighborhoods with the houses and stuff because there's people sitting
People
in
sit
their
out there,
driveway playing on
yeah.
like sitting there, and they'll be like drinking beer, like grilling stuff, and like
But with bowls of bananas and oranges
yeah, man,
on a
it's
card
cool.
table.
It's fun. Like it'd be really nice to like live on a marathon route because I'd have a lot of fun with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And people have signs they put out there. and
Yeah.
Now there's a totally different feel.
Versus alone in the woods on a stumpy trail, just like,
Right.
where's the next aid
It's fun to do
station?
both, and they actually one helps you with the other.
Right. It's still, I mean, yeah, it's still good work. What's your A stuff, Jeff, for 2024? What are you
The
looking forward to do?
Cowtown.
That's early in the year though.
Yep.
Well then. Everything
then
else
after
is,
that-
And it can only get better.
yeah,
And
party
then
lap.
after that will be just in late April is Coyote,
Yeah.
my first 50 miler.
Mm.
And then after that, I guess I only have the option to go
You could only go up then.
100 miles.
100K.
You gotta do
Do
100K.
later in the year.
Well,
100K.
Dino Valley is a Western States qualifier now, Jeff.
I just need a doctor's note
You just
saying
need,
to my wife I will not die during a race at that distance.
Yeah, our wives look down on that.
yeah, the 100K is a qualifier at Dino Valley now for Western States.
Wasn't the drawing today?
Yeah, it was today.
Neat. I'm glad y'all know that.
Greg got in.
Did he? I don't know
Correct.
if Amy got in or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess she would have already known. Yeah, I don't know if it's still going on or not.
And you said love it's your kind of A thing for 2024, huh?
Oh yeah.
And that's done in February too. That's so
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Let's see. Looking after that, I don't really know yet because I don't want to start looking ahead. I haven't got through what I'm
I mean,
about to do now. That
right.
Love it's going to be the hardest race I've ever done.
Oh,
That's going to be very, very difficult.
it's your third or fourth.
Like when I signed up, third one.
Third one. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it'll be the third one that I complete.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I signed up for it, I got very scared. Like it's it's less intimidating now, but like it's
Well, you've put in a ton of work.
yeah, I mean I really have
It's a distance.
trained
Yeah.
a lot. After that, I don't know. Road ultras, like I'm curious about that.
Mm.
I don't know if I'll ever do anything with that.
You did the Cowtown Road Ultra, right?
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, but like further than a 50K. Like I've thought about it.
Dang, on the road.
Even just doing it.
Like another 50 miler on the road?
Yeah, like I've thought about it. I don't know. I don't know if that'll come. Lake Murray interests me, the 100 miler. I think to do 200 milers in 1 year would be really cool.
Yeah.
And Lake Murray, I like it out there. That's a nice like state park and
I've tried the last 2 years to run Dana Peak, and I moved 1 year
yeah.
and got injured this past year, so I'd like to run that, but have
Dana
to
Peak's
see.
fun. Dana Peak's really fun. And they got good campgrounds too.
And that would be, I guess I'd do the 100K there.
You would? Ooh.
Oh man.
Ooh.
62
It's all your influence,
miles.
Will.
Now that Dino is a Western States qualifier, though, I might do the 100K at Dino, just to get like a Western States qualifier.
I mean, it's right down the road from us. I say
That'd be
right down the road. It's
That'd
close.
be really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And 22 hours wouldn't be that,
Oh no.
if that's not that.
No,
bad
I
for-
wouldn't even be close to 22 hours.
What about this? Is we're all speaking about races. This is so two things. This Saturday, and we've kind of talked about this before because we hang out and run together. This Saturday is the backyard race with Outlaw. So the backyard style, last man standing kind of race,
That's
and then
today?
also next in a week.
Oh, in a week.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Saturday. Sorry, in a week. So
Are you
the
going to be
9th.
there?
No, I got too much stuff going on at the house and everything else, and I thought about it. I mean, I could probably show up and run, but no, I thought about it. But that'd be really neat. So there's that aspect. I still want to do one of those. That'd be cool. So what do y'all kind of think about those? But then also, have y'all? We'll talk about that second. First, have y'all ever ran a Ragnarok
I have not.
relay, ultra relays?
No, I've never done a trail
No.
relay.
I've always thought that was like super cool, and they have like teams of 4. So if we just had like one more guy, we could do one, and that would be neat. And they have different distances, but I'm just looking into them a little bit.
And
but they
those
have-
are point to point, or are those loops? Because I did a point to point relay race with Outward Bound in Colorado that was awesome. But that covered like 250 miles.
I think the Ragnar around here is at a ranch.
They have a couple, right? They have just a few different locations, but the one around here, I'm not sure if it's like everyone does one loop, 4 people and everyone does one loop, or how they break that up. But that'd be neat. So
Habanero has a relay.
really,
Yeah, if we all hated ourselves, we could go out to Habanero.
No,
Well,
the heat
well.
in that one, no. I was just thinking we need to find a race where it's like teams of 3 and an ultra and you get time together.
Oh,
Is
I
that
know
a
s-
thing?
I know somebody who qualified for what's the Nevada Badwater,
Badwater?
and it was like a 2-person team, and you got time together for like 100 miler was one of the races they used, I think, as their like qualifier. I think there might be some races that do like teams, even though you run together,
Yeah.
or
That'd be-
if there's not, there should be.
It's an interesting concept.
That would be cool. It's like adventure racing. They have, like I said, a team of 3 or 4, and there's like a portion you have to bike, run, kayak, but your team all has to cross it, and you have to like navigate everything yourself and all that. It's pretty cool. So Ragnar would be neat. But kind of so with the backyard, the knockout races, and we've kind of talked about those before. And Will, you've mentioned like if you were doing it, you would, if this is correct, that you then doing a last man standing race, your mindset would be that you would actually like you're not going to do it if you don't think you could be the last one standing.
That's what I think about it. Like I feel like if I'm gonna do a race like that, obviously the only goal is to win. So you would just train accordingly.
Ooh, how do you train for that?
I don't know. I've never it's always been something I've watched from a distance and been like, man, that looks pretty cool. I don't know. I don't really know how you would train for that.
Yeah. Do you have any inkling at
'Cause
all,
it's four-
Chuck,
it's-
to do that?
No, just that one's a little scary because it's then you pushing yourself,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I could see if I was running it on whatever lap, and I'm getting worn out, but like then there's that kind of, I'm gonna say like forced brotherhood, but like it's you and 8 other runners or something, and y'all are both like everyone's like, I kind of wish you'd quit, but I don't like. I want you to keep going too, kind of thing. But like, so
Well,
you,
what's cool
yeah.
about I was following Big's backyard a little bit, and it was Harvey Lewis and that other guy. Like they got to the point where they were like, okay, we're not trying to win this thing now. We're just trying to get one of us to break the record.
yes,
That's the entire point of this now. So Harvey Lewis was better than the other guy, and the other guy was like literally the only reason I'm here so you can beat this record. And then
Yeah.
once he beat that record, he went out for his record-breaking loop. The dude ran like 20 yards with him and then just stopped
yes,
and said he was done. So like that would be where it'd get interesting because you're not really
that's awesome.
you're competing, but you're not because you're like, okay, let's see how far we can all go
Yeah,
collectively.
it's that like,
but you're so far beyond all limits you thought you could.
oh,
That guy had already smashed all the limits he thought he could. 5 days.
Oh yeah,
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying if I ever did a backyard, I'd try to break Harvey Lewis's record or anything.
Right, but
like,
you could
you're
end
trying to see really how far you can go.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting too in those races because it's an hour each loop, so you'd have to
There's
For
more,
me anyway, like I'd have to time it to where
there's
I'd
more
get back in
strategy.
and I'm fresh,
Yes.
but I'm not like my legs couldn't get stiff. Because if I sit for too long, I'd like your legs kind of lock up and
So, okay, would you think like a 40, 45 minute come back with like 15 minutes or 20 minutes is
yeah,
something like that?
yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
yeah.
be where you'd start at.
That's been my thought.
I don't know if it'd stay like that.
Right, right.
Because I know for some of the loops, even that I think some of the loops that Harvey did, he'd come in and like
A
he'd have
minute
like
left.
he'd have like 5 minutes to spare, and it's just like get back out there.
Yeah.
I almost don't know if that would be easier.
I heard him talk about, or not him specifically, but people, it being kind of set with times you can do things more strategically. If if your body will allow, there's like, well, I want to shower next lap, so I'm going to try to run faster so I have more time to shower. Or versus like, or if I need to eat, I need this much time. Or like, this one's going to be easy. I'm going to do this one in 55 minutes. Yeah, or something like that. And
I
it's
think
like, wow.
I think I've told y'all this off the air, but like my dad found out about backyard ultras, and he's
Oh, yeah.
like, it's the only race that he's like, I would actually help crew you with that because he's like
Wants you to
that's
do-
the
yeah.
one that interests him more than anything else that I do. Like he's like,
Oh.
son, you need to do one of them. That'd be pretty fun. Come on out there
I'd
and
be
do
there.
that.
I'd be there for you.
Yeah.
That's the best, like as far as spectating goes too in the sport, which is hard to do. I mean, there's one aid station. It's probably logistically easy, one of the most easiest to set up. You got everything set up here. Everyone's going to come back to here. You're only covering 4-ish miles, and you're just like, all right, go. Like that's yeah.
Are your parents going to love it?
I think in
I
some
think that-
capacity they're going to be out there. Even though my dad will just tell me to hurry up. Run faster. I'm tired, boy. I think they
Tired
will. I
watching
know
you.
Hans and Stephanie are going to pace and crew me.
Awesome.
And Heather, my girlfriend Heather wants to crew me. So,
Awesome.
yeah, it'll be pretty nice.
So then your parents can just be there to spectate and
I
not.
think they'll probably come in and see me finish. I don't, because it's a 5 p.m. on Friday start time, and if everything goes according to plan, I should get done about 9 or 10 on Saturday. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I think somewhere around 28, 29 hours would be good for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's bananas, but it's yeah, very, very good. Even running
Well, 100 miles sounds bananas right now, Frank, but 1 year from now it may not sound bananas.
Exactly. I was gonna say I've ran like for an hour before thinking like I never need to run longer than an hour, and my goal wasn't for like distance races or endurance, kind of like it is now. And now I've ran a marathon, and then when you have a marathon or an ultra done, and you compare that, whatever, something around 30 miles, and you're like, I'm gonna go out to run today. Like I feel like I haven't ran enough. If I'm gonna run, it needs to be at least an hour or something like that. If I can maybe a quick little 30 minutes at least or something. But it's like that's nothing now where it's like I'm gonna do a 10K or I'm gonna do a
Yeah,
marathon.
like when was the last time you ran
Like-
less than 6 miles?
Exactly. And like that's a distance. That's cool. But it's just that mind frame. So I could definitely see that times whatever is, well, it's just 30 hours or whatever you just said, Will. I'm thinking over the night and 2 hours, it's good. I could probably have have a taco and yeah, I mean, okay. Like what? But that's awesome. That's that's
weird to
some
wrap your
people
head
wanna do
around.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I'd rather run 100 miles than drive 100 miles. I would much rather do
Mm.
that.
Yeah, I remember, and my wife would like give me just mess with me, joke with me about it because when I stopped running, and I was still kind of being active and doing other things, but we'd be driving to family or somewhere else, and like we'd be going through a ranch, and I would see like trails, cattle trails or single track stuff, whatever. I'm like, man, that makes me just want to run. Like I miss running. She's like, what? Like just looking out in a field and you want to run? I was like, yeah, that looks so nice. Like I just want to go out and like run. I miss running. So that's, I guess it's nice that I enjoy it that much. But again, to her, it was like, that's dumb. Like what? That makes no sense at all. And then, then you think a 5K is crazy, and then it keeps growing.
And Will keeps talking in your ear. It sounds less crazy and less crazy, and then I should do that sometime.
Carl Meltzer said running 100, or he said 100 miles isn't that far.
compared to, I
It's
mean,
not.
yeah,
It's not that far.
it can be done. It's like the I was gonna be real smart and throw out names and stuff. Y'all will probably know it. What's the dude that broke the young guy? Dang it, he's on the back of. Oh, do you have the book? No, you don't. I knew someone else who had the book. What's that guy's name? Who? Oh, I'm just gonna sound like a fool now. Broke a lot of things in college. He's one of the famous like runners from back then, and it was like
It's Steve Prefontaine.
Prefontaine. Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy. Yep, Fontaine. And everyone was like, "Man, this time is so hard for whatever it was, the marathon or whatever." And then he finally broke it, and then like within a year, like 4 other people finally broke it. So it's like once people really wrap their head around like it is possible and it can be done, it just seems like it always flips a lot of switches, and certain people, or it's easier for other switches to get flipped once it's fathomable or tangible because it has been done. And it's like, oh yeah, that's is what it is. And now people just regularly run sub, whatever for their marathons and stuff. Yeah, that was bumpy, but I explained it decently.
Well, the 4-minute mile was the same way.
Is that what it was?
Well, no, that wasn't but Roger
Okay.
Bannister, I think it was the 40s, did the 4-minute mile.
Is that-
And before that,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
yeah,
Bannister.
it could have been Roger Bannister, but before that, everybody was like, nobody can run that fast. Nobody
Right,
can
right.
ever break a 4-minute mile. It's impossible. It's physically impossible. And now high school kids do it regularly at
Exactly.
track meets. Like, it's not a big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the 2-hour marathon is maybe next year.
That's coming up.
Dude,
Because Capoche did what, 2:01?
it
Oh,
was
he
like
was
a minute.
he was less than a minute away, I think.
Oh. Yeah.
Holy cow.
And he did it not officially.
Behind the car and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right? With
yeah,
Like
Nike,
on
whole
the
pace
Formula
car
One
thing,
racetrack.
with Nike and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't count it, which that's fine.
Right.
That's fine.
That's an interesting thing. To see it again, that possibly helped. Like, look, physically, it can be done.
Yep.
So it's helping flip those switch. All right, guys. Somewhat wrapping it up, but what have we missed anything or coming up or talking about anything fun? Oh, yeah, real quick. If you live in the Burleson area, just so you know, Jeff brought this to our attention. The turkey is no longer on the trail because people hate runners. Or we think it was maintenance crew or something like that. What was it, Jeff? The new, because it's not Dorbury or something like that. You think, or
Yeah,
was it washed
Chisenhall
away?
is now run by which mountain bike group? Is it Fort Worth?
Yeah, Fort Worth.
And the turkey had.
I just think people
Dorba
are
on it.
prejudicing against turkeys.
Uh,
It's Thanksgiving and they took the turkey down.
was it around on Cactus Jack?
Yeah, it was on Cactus Jack.
Back
Yeah.
towards the back of the way.
Whack.
Freaking turkey's gone. So I don't know
By
why
the
even run.
guy that's parked on the bicycle. Whoever put that together, that looks really like a person.
I don't think I know what you're talking about. I
Somebody put an extra bicycle, and it looks like there's a guy riding his bike, but it's stationary. Go run with Will after this and check it out.
I like the it's on one of the common more like closer to the parking lot, I guess, trails, but some point in there's like a VHS between some trees, and I love that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's something I always see.
Is the deer stand still up there?
What? No.
They had the ladder
Oh man.
up to the deer stand. I think they took that down, though.
Where at?
On Keep on Trucking.
I've never noticed
I
those,
climbed it a few times.
Now, I know there's a ladder over at the winery, but not. I didn't know there was one on Keep on Trucking.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's like an old deer stand or something. It's
There
pretty
was,
funny.
There's a feeder at the winery. I saw it was a week ago or so. I was very close to a buck. He was like staring me down on the trail, and I was like, "Oh, there's deer out here." And he,
The winery?
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh." But all right, guys. I don't know, anything else fun or new happening or something coming up in 2024? Big plans. Both of y'all are gonna get y'all's year knocked out in 2 months, essentially. January and February. Your runs in January.
February.
Oh, both of them. Oh, that's
Well,
right. It's the same week. We all said
I'll have something I'll be doing later in the year.
something
but
will happen.
Yeah, something will happen. I
Like
just ain't there yet.
a backyard race.
Maybe.
Eh,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
we could set up. Ooh. All right. We'll finish with this. What if we set up
A race at
just a
Chisenhall.
4.2 mile whatever loop and decided one day,
The
like,
three of us.
just us three set up with a huge set. We could tell the Burleson Running Club,
Oh, that'd be sick.
but that just for good training for that.
Park at Will's apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the
And we
start finish. Yeah.
We go down to Dutch Brothers and come back.
That would be if I lived in this like apartment complex area and just like see like if I saw that like look at this every once in a while these guys they're there again and they show up and they're like more ragged out, they won't stop, they chill under this tent for a while and they leave on the hour again. They'll be back, give them 40-50 minutes. Like that would be fun just to try that out at least for like a few laps, to have a feel for it. But that'd be fun. We could do that, make it a hidden Burleson thing, tradition thing. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank y'all for being able to record here.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
Will,
me.
for the space and the chili. All right, guys. Jeff, Chuck, Doug.
Goodbye.
appreciate
Thank you, Frank.
it. All right, guys. Later, Gators.